Graphing quadratic functions, Concept 7c. Here we're going to talk about graphing functions, quadratic functions in intercept form. So intercept form is a function in the form f of x equals a times the quantity x minus p times the quantity x minus q. And that's where p and q are x-intercepts, where the graph is crossing the x-axis. So that's 2 points on the parabola, P0 and Q0. The x-intercepts are the points where the parabola crosses the x-axis. And just to review, the maximum or the minimum is the highest or lowest point on the parabola, and that's the vertex. Domain and range, domain is the set of inputs, and for quadratic equations, that's all real numbers. The range is all the possible outputs, and that is the y value of the vertex. So y will either be greater than or equal to k, or less than or equal to k, depending on how the parabola opens, whether it opens up or down. So here are the steps to graph using x-intercepts. The first thing is we're going to find the x-intercepts. So you're just going to pick out p and q and establish those 2 points. Then you're going to find the axis of symmetry. That's in the middle of those 2 points. So to find that, you add up the p and q and you divide by 2. And so that's the equation of the axis of symmetry. This is also the x value of the vertex. So once you find that, you have found the x value of the vertex. And then to find y, you're going to plug in the x value of the vertex. So plug in p plus q divided by 2 and find y. Solve for y. So let's graph f of x equals negative 2 times the quantity x minus 1 plus 3, or sorry, times x plus 3. Then we're going to label the x-intercepts, vertex, and the axis of symmetry. So the first thing is let's pick p and q. Remember that the function is in terms of subtraction. So p equals 1, q equals negative 3, because you have to subtract negative 3 to get a positive. So we have 2 points, 1, 0, and negative 3, 0. And I'm going to place them in my table and leave the center for our vertex. So now I'm going to find the axis of symmetry. So 1 plus negative 3 divided by 2. So that's negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. So that's my axis of symmetry. Now to find the rest of the vertex, I'm going to plug in negative 1 and solve. So I'll have negative 2 times negative 2 times positive 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So we have the vertex negative 1, 8. Now to graph, draw your xy axis and label that. You always want to label it and then label a scale. 5, 5. So we have the point 1, 0, negative 1, 8, and negative 3, 0. So we're going to draw a smooth curve up, through, and down, and put arrows on the end. So we've got our vertex, our axis of symmetry, and let's sketch the axis of symmetry. So just sketch that vertical line right through the vertex, and that indicates it on the graph. And there's the graph of number 1. Now let's graph this one. So we've got 1/4 times x minus 6 times x minus 2. So let's pick out our p and q. So p is 6 and q is 2. So we have the points 6, 0, and 2, 0. And let's place them in our table. Now let's find the x value of the vertex. So we'll add those up and divide by 2, which gives us 4. So that's our axis of symmetry. And then let's plug in 4 for x and find out what the y value of the vertex is. So we have 1/4 times -2 times +2. 1/4 times -4 is -1. So we have the vertex for -1, and let's label that and put it in our table. Draw your XY axes, X and Y. Whoops. Make sure you label those and label a scale, and that's my dog. 6, 0, 4, -1, and 2, 0. And so you can tell this is going to be a bit wider. Our A value is 1/4. Since it is less than 1, then our parabola will be wider than the parent function. Our x-intercepts here, we have those. We have our vertex and our axis of symmetry. Pause the video, work the independent problems, and then restart the video to check your answers. So now we have a function in intercept form. So let's pick out P and Q. So that's 2 points, 5, 0, and 1, 0. And we'll put those in our table and then find the x value of the vertex, which is our axis of symmetry, and then find our y value of the vertex by plugging in 3. So 2 times -2 times +2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, and that's a negative. So we'll draw our x and y axis. Label a scale, and then our points. 5, 0, 8, 1, 0. I think I got 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm 1 off. There we go. So disregard that point. Nice smooth curve. Sketch in, go this way so I don't miss it, the axis of symmetry. So there's our axis, here is our x-intercepts, and then we've got our vertex 3, -8. There. Well, it's sideways, sorry. Now this last equation, it doesn't look like we have a p value, but actually we can think of that as p minus 0. So our first x-intercept is 0, and then our second is 6. So we have the points 0, 0, and 6, 0. Now to find the x value of the vertex, we'll just add those up and divide by 2, and that is our axis of symmetry. And then let's plug in 3. So -3 times -3 will give us +9. 3, 9. That's our vertex. And then finally, we will graph label the axes and a scale. 3, 9, and nice smooth U-shaped curve, and sketch in your axis of symmetry. And we have our x-intercepts, our axis of symmetry, and our vertex. And that's graphing in intercept form.